Hey gang, it's OD here once again from Stove to Strategy, and it's time to talk to somebody who really cares about what's going on with your career. Hey gang, I am back, and like I promised, I am back with Carrie Cares, and she really cares about your career. She has these really great, I don't want to say YouTube videos, and I'm sorry, there's so many social medias floating around. I almost said the wrong one, but Carrie Cares Employer Brand Consulting. it's it's so much, and I think it's so much because looking at what she does from the outside and dealing with people who kind of go through what she works with, it made me go, oh wow, there's this missing spot where people aren't properly getting trained and educated about that. So Carrie, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, OD, for having me on your podcast this morning. It's a pleasure to be here. It's Carrie Corcoran. Cares is not my last name, but it could be.
Be great branding if you did it, I'm just saying.
Right. Well, maybe I'll change that. But I've been in the employer brand and recruitment marketing space for over 10 years now. Back when I started, we didn't call it employer branding. I don't even know if there was terminology for it back then, much like yourself when you started podcasting back in 2007. It just has continued to evolve. And I'm really passionate about people and storytelling and telling the stories of people to attract the right talent for companies. And that is what I do. I look at everything using heart, humor, and putting an HR spin on it, of course. And Have done that for small companies to enterprise level companies. So a little bit about my background. I believe in recruiting operations excellence and having a positive employer brand.
Okay. So I'm gonna spit two questions out really quickly while they're still on top of my head. Tell us, for those that don't know exactly what it is, or we could use a better definition of what employer branding is. And you said art? What was the other? I'm gonna mess that one up. And I think you sent it to me.
Oh, heart and humor.
Heart and Humor. That was on the YouTube video, Heart and Humor. Tell us about Heart and Humor, and tell us what employer branding is and how Heart and Humor go hand in hand with that.
Absolutely. Everyone has a story to tell, and I'm a storyteller by heart. And infusing others' hearts within those stories, that's where you really get to the heart of HR. HR is about people, and people have hearts. So I always incorporate heart, and it's important to incorporate humor too. Like we oftentimes take ourselves too seriously, or companies take things too seriously. You have to be able to laugh at yourself. You have to be able to laugh at situations. I constantly amuse myself, even if other people don't think I'm funny. I think I am. And so just using that as a way to soften what I do and look at the human elements of it. And it's a tough space to be in because it's so up and down right now, and the job market is very tumultuous right now. So just putting the heart and humor into everything that I do is how I run my business and how I've built my career over the years. And I didn't necessarily know that's what I was doing until much later in my career, until I said, "Oh, this is really my signature and how I do it." And I'm sorry, you have to you have to repeat your second. Oh, employer branding. So what is
Mhm.
employer branding? So every company has an employer brand, and employer branding, what I do is I build strategies to help companies attract and retain the best talent out there. And so your employer brand is essentially a promise that you are making to your employees and also those that are going to join you. it's what you can expect once you're in that company.
Hmm. And I kind of sit back in this casual way right now because as I was watching your videos, I'm thinking about it as someone who, um, at points in my life, hopefully no time in the near future, that I'll be looking or seeking employment. But when you do, you you kind of do want someone. This is not like a very whole time and you're like you don't want it to feel like an oil change. You want it to feel like a caring experience, and I think that's what a lot of people are looking for, and a lot of things that they deal with businesses, companies that they're looking to work with, people they're looking to work with. Like, we all know people can get the job done, but I kind of give Chick-fil-A the kudos for this. They make you feel good just getting your chicken. I just gave you $35 for two chicken sandwiches, and that's probably false, but I know it is. But I just gave you $35 for like this bag of delicious chicken and French fries and stuff. And I leave that place feeling like those people really care about me. And I think that's really cool that you're bringing that to companies, because in the company that I work for, you constantly hear them talk about how they want to retain the best talent, how they want to gain the best talent, what can they do to gain the best talent. And I don't want to use the word sterile, but a lot of the approach is very sterile, no caring, and I think that's just really cool that you're bringing that to business. It excited me when I was watching the videos. Um, One of the videos you were talking about how you would like to get, um, hiring managers to be more on the video. And it said 55% of employees would like to see hiring managers on video. How did that come about for you to make that video? I'd like to know, what kind of data did you get, and then, like, or was it just you? Like, why do I never get to see this guy?
That's a great question. So, how I came about getting recruiting and hiring managers on video and candidates wanting to see that. So, Maury Hannigan, she is with Spark Start, and she actually has that statistic that she shared with me. She's got her video recruitment marketing company for years now, and she's a good contact of mine. And so, she shared that statistic, and it is true. When I worked for a regional bank and enterprise company here in Tulsa, one of the things that I brought to the table once I came on board was let's put our hiring managers on video, and found a really great tool to do that. Plug to Video My Job if I can do that.
Mhm. Go for it.
And I built a program on putting hiring managers on video and talking about the opening that they have that they need to fill, and highlighting different career paths at the bank and what that could look like. Everything from someone starting as an intern, working their way up, to someone who started as a contractor and who converted to be a full time employee, and then tying those different stories to the different values of the bank and how each person related to those different values. And did a pilot program with their project management group where probably shot about 30 different videos with employees across their teams, and shared those with candidates within the candidate experience to keep them engaged. And the information from the surveys afterwards, the questions were, did you, number one, did you see a video? Number two, what did you think about the videos? And number three, what would you do differently? And some candidates didn't see any videos
Oh.
because some recruiters weren't completely on board with it. Shame on those recruiters. And some did see one or two videos, and they said it made a huge difference because they were able to see what it would look like, some of the people who they would be working with in the future, were they to get an offer and accept that job and join the team. And then others said, I wish there would have been more videos. So it was a good cross section, great survey to determine that it did work really well. And there was new leadership within that group too. So it was a way to highlight the new leadership that was being brought in to champion and lead this project management office. So it was a fantastic opportunity. So we did it with the PMO group and then started to roll it out to other divisions within the bank. So we went to consumer banking next and showcased the different hiring managers and branch managers and what they were looking for in their people who they wanted to join them. And it's such an impactful way to make an immediate difference. Number one, with a candidate, so that candidate experience is going to be rock solid. If you are using video, they're going to know what they're getting into. And there aren't a lot of I don't see a lot of companies doing it, which is so surprising to me, unless they're doing it behind the scenes and they're not putting their recruiters out in front with videos. I like it when hiring managers go on video, talk about the 3 things that they're looking for, and then post that on LinkedIn to help attract their next team member. And they ask members of their team to do the same so that everybody can share that message and help attract the best talent.
That is powerful in the digital age that we're in. And I do notice that we don't see a lot of companies do that. For someone who's had to go out and look for a job, they don't really lead with that. It's the piece of paper, it's the job recommendation, the JD that you read, the email that's real brief, and then all of a sudden you're in this room with 3 people,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're like blah 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 blah, like, and you don't really get a feel of the company. And I think when you get people on video, they get to express themselves a little bit, and I think that's a very powerful message to show with branding your company and making you be the point that you can attract very, very good talent. So that is super awesome. So I want to talk about what sparked you to create your business. What sparked that? Like, what was the moment that you were like, you know what? I think I could do this.
Sure, that's a great question. So, what sparked my interest in becoming an entrepreneur was COVID. And I lost my job after
Mm,
COVID. And I said, okay, I kept applying to different companies. And I just wasn't getting interviews. I wasn't seeing results. And it's like, okay, what's next? And so for me, it was a necessity to think differently and to put myself out there in a way that I hadn't necessarily put myself out there in prior. So I thought, well, I care about people, I care about processes, I care about HR. So Carrie and then cares. Like, that sounds like a good name for a consulting business and for employer brand too, because it ties back into the people aspect of it. So for me, it was necessity. And once I decided to do that, someone approached me after I had talked about here are all the things that I had done, my success stories from the bank. And someone saw that post on LinkedIn and reached out to me. And this was a person who had been following me since probably 2016, or I'd been connected to since 2016. He reached out to me and he said, hey, would you be interested in working on some projects together? And I said, okay. And so my LLC was ready to go with my company. And so I did that for about 3.5 years, and then also had my own clients, which it was all through networking and truly building those relationships prior. I had someone reach out who had been following me from 2021 because of something I posted on LinkedIn, a success story. And he reached out to me and he said, hey, I've got this amazing consulting, contract consulting opportunity. Is that something that you'd be interested in? Let's talk. And I said, absolutely. And it took 4 months before I was actually hired and 4 meetings, which is pretty much the norm these days.
Seems like it.
Everything is a hurry up and wait, or wait and see. And And so I just figured it was time to do something different. And even when I've had full time roles and been working for a company, it's something that I always did on the side.
Okay. Yes. Excuse me. Yeah. The side, the side passion rolled into the real passion. And I like that you started to put yourself out there, that you were doing it, and people started gravitating towards you, showing that you already have a positive outlook. And that project that you started in the bank, I mean, that's huge. A pilot program that, I mean, I'm sure once they put data to that, was exciting. And people see that and they're like, oh man, this is the person for the job. So, and then having the caring element behind it, I think is really, really big. Would you say that is the creative piece of your company that makes you different from someone else, or are there other pieces, excuse me, other pieces besides just the caring piece?
I would say certainly the caring piece. I'm an empath, and so I feel things very deeply. And so that's where the care comes in. I didn't really realize that until after I got divorced, like how much of a deep feeler I am and how much of an empath I am. And so that's one thing that I bring that others may or may not bring, is that empathetic, caring, compassionate side, and looking at the human elements of it. And I've been in the trenches so many times as a job seeker. I've probably been laid off 8 times in my career. And so it's always reinvent, 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 take a step back to go forward, take another step back to go forward. And just reinvention has been kind of my overall career history. So I know what it's like. I can put myself in the candidate's shoes when I'm talking with a company, and I can relate to everything that they're trying to improve or understand from that side of the house, because I've been there.
Okay. I like that. And experience right now, as much as you in the hiring business, a lot of people like to have someone with a degree, but someone with the experience is big. And with you having reinventions of your career over 8 times, a lot of people, that's courage. Um, I remember I had a classmate, I guess it was probably like 3 years after we graduated high school, and we were sitting at this party, and the young lady's like, "Hey, so are you still going to pre-med?" And I was like, "No, I'm doing real estate now." She's like, "Wait a minute, you changed?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing real estate appraisal now." She goes, "Oh my gosh, it's like so scary to like change, your career path." And I'm thinking, we're 22. Like, this is the perfect time to change career paths. But I was like, nah, you take a chance. If it's not what you really like, or it's not working for you, you go do something, but you can't be afraid to go out there and try. And I think I mean, that is probably the sentiment. I think, God, I can't remember the statistic. It said most of us are going to, I think it's about 5 times. We're going to either change careers 5 times, or we're going to change jobs 5 times in our year, in our lives. And I think it's important to realize that that is part of the deal of being here. No one in this sense is going to get it with a company and work 40 years anymore.
No.
That's just not how the world rotates. So it's great to have people like you that are like, I'm going to say, breaking the mold of what the typical employer experience would be. And so, with you doing the videos, and like I said, I'm not the one that's deep in this. I'm learning a lot about employer branding as we're going on along right now. Do you feel that like the projects of you doing the video kind of maybe pushed an industry norm, or maybe pushed back against standard practices of your industry? And did you receive any negativity where people are like, whoa, 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 Carrie, we don't do that in HR? Like, did you have any of those kind of experiences?
Oh, yes. One of the companies that I worked for, I actually built the whole program, and recruiting was supposed to embrace it. Some recruiters embraced it, others didn't. There was a lot of hesitation because they didn't feel comfortable on video. And I was laid off shortly after the program launched. And what I saw was when I was there, they started, and there were a lot of videos, a lot of videos, a lot of videos. And then when I wasn't there any longer, then I didn't see any videos anymore. And the only thing I could think was, you paid for this. Like, a lot of money, and your
Hmm.
recruiters aren't using it.
Oh
Why?
man.
And so it was after I wasn't there that I noticed it, but a lot of companies are hesitant to let their employees put themselves out there, and that is such a mistake. Now, you have to have psychological safety in the company that you work for in order to be able to launch a video program of any sort. And if that's not there, then don't launch it,
Hmm.
because people need to be their authentic selves on videos. And that's what candidates want to see. They don't want polished, they don't want corporate, career focused, pie in the sky videos. They want authenticity, real, raw people.
I love that. That is why I do what I do the way that I do it. I don't edit videos. This is going to probably go just there'll be probably 1 or 2 seconds at the end in the beginning that are clipped out, but I don't do edits. Like I want people to see us being who we are. And I think that is who people either learn to love or decide, no, I'm going to be a fan of a different show or a different business.
Exactly.
And I think that's huge. And it's probably that weird feeling where you're sitting there and you're involved with this, you're helping push it, you're seeing success, and then they take you off of this program and you're like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Like you guys aren't using it. Like you said, you're paying all this money for this, it's giving you huge results, and you're not using it. But then I think that's also another bingo moment that's very powerful for you, and people can see like, wow, you did this and they're not even using it. These guys are morons. Like, let's bring you over here and do that. Because, like I said, I'm going to reiterate to anyone watching this, like, keeping the top talent is a humongous thing right now. Like, people are looking, and people who already have great jobs are always looking for something better. And so, if you're not doing, like, I guess the most difficult part about this show is when I listen to people's ideas and I hear these really exciting things, and I'm just like, why are people not doing like I would love to just go on and just watch some companies' videos about their hiring things, and like, a 2-minute video about what this group is doing and who they're looking to hire. Like, I mean, those things could go viral. And like you said, letting people be their authentic self. That's who we're working with. We're going to work with this person. And Jim is going to give me his authentic self in this meeting. So I don't want to see Jim in this suit and tie and hello, I'm Jim doing this, and blah, blah, blah. Like, we're just not that generation anymore. So I think you have a
No.
powerful gift here.
Thank you. Yeah, I need to shoot more videos for myself and for Carrie Care's employer brand consulting. I've taken a little bit of a break on that just because of my career pause in the last year and a half, and I went through a lot of personal stuff, and including a small brain aneurysm, and so that going through that experience really helped me refocus on my body, mind, and spirit. Um, so important.
It is. And I mean, it just adds to it. Once again, like I get chills doing this show with people because these are these great ideas and they're your passion projects. And they're great. And I'm like, we have to get these in front of more people. And that's the beauty of this show. And when Leslie, and I have to do, the shameless plug and hold up the book, when Leslie was, telling me about this book, he's like, I've written this book. It's going to be great. And blah, 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 blah. It's going to help people do this, that, and the other. And I was like, that's awesome. I could do a podcast about that. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, let me show you. And it's funny because he quoted me in the book saying that, but it is. And talking to people like you and hearing about your videos and seeing your videos have inspired me to continue to do these things and to turn certain pieces into shorter clips, and then even work with people like you and like start the networking and helping build brands with each other. And so these are like totally inspiring for me. And on the grounds of inspiration to people, what would you tell yourself if you could go back, let's say 5 years? What would you tell yourself in the Wayback Machine? You pop up yourself, hey, what would you tell yourself then that you know now?
Ooh, 5 years ago. Hmm. I would say don't be afraid to be yourself. I didn't embrace my authenticity publicly until probably, well, it might have been 2020 actually. And I was inspired by a good friend of mine who was posting content on LinkedIn, and he was totally putting himself out there. And one day I looked at that and I said, what am I so afraid of? I need to put myself out there, take the mask off, let's not be performative anymore, and let's be real, let's be raw. And once I started being real and raw, that's when I started to truly grow my brand, grow my network, and then people were resonating with me on a much deeper level. So I would say 5 years ago, it would have been be yourself, or be as much of yourself as you can, because obviously there's certain things that you don't want to do on social media. And I'm a dancer. Like, I don't
Mhm.
necessarily dance on LinkedIn, but I do on TikTok.
Oh, see, and I love that, and I love that you're inspiring because like I am not the social media person, to do stuff for the branding purpose. I'm old school. Like I like to sometimes get on there and argue with my friends about politics. But if you're like, hey, go do marketing for your business all day long, I'm like, I gotta post another link because I kind of feel like sometimes like I don't know, like I just shouldn't be posting so much. But I do love what I do, and it's part of what's passionate to me. And I shouldn't feel like I shouldn't want to share it because there are people who love what you do and what I do. And if we don't share it, and if people out there don't share those things, and like you said, take that mask off and let people see who they're really going to be doing business with and interacting with, you're probably not going to get as much as you possibly, or maybe the best clients that you want. So I think that's a great bit of advice. I have one favor to ask before we wrap this up. Leslie has this wonderful commercial, and I always just tell people it's a wonderful commercial because I really like it. And I'm going to run it right quick. And then when we come back, we're going to wrap up the show. And if you could share one thing that you found recently that you're passionate about or that you love doing, it can be anything: baking bread, um, crocheting, which I cannot crochet. I make everything turn into a coaster. But whatever that is, just share one thing with everybody what you love or passionate about. Is that okay?
That sounds great.
Awesome. Okay, we'll be right back. Here's Leslie.
Hey, OD, it's Leslie. I just wanted to take a moment. I know you're in the middle of Stove to Strategy, the podcast, talking to some great leaders. I just wanted to talk about Snibs real quick. This shoe's been wonderful for me, super comfortable. I spent all day in Buffalo at the Buffalo Wing Festival, probably going to do it again this year. And for any of your viewers that are in hospitality, restaurants, hotels, nursing, a great shoe to get, slip resistant, comfortable all day, and it's going to last you. Snibs. Strongly recommend. I think you should check them out. Just like I'm going to check out your podcast, Stove to Strategy, the podcast, and see what are the great leaders that you're talking to and hear their history and what's going on. So back to you. I appreciate you letting me interrupt. Adios.
Just I love that commercial. It just I don't know. It makes me laugh. It's happy.
That's awesome.
So everybody wants to know, what is Carrie passionate about, or what does she love doing right now?
I love dancing, and I cannot follow a choreography or a routine to save my life. Like all of these dances on TikTok that go viral, like when I
Mhm.
try to learn one of those, it is the most hysterical thing ever. So I cannot follow a routine. But I love to move and I just love to freestyle dance. And for me, it brings me joy. It's a form of therapy. It's how I release stress. And I just enjoy it. I do it in the car sometimes. If I'm at a restaurant and a song comes on, you might see me like, yeah.
I like those people. I like those people. I'm definitely one of those guys in the car, and then you're at the restaurant, you see the person gig, you're like, okay, she likes that song. Me too. So that is
Yeah.
beautiful.
So I
I
I will break out into a dance wherever I
I love
am.
that. I think the only dance choreographed, or group movements, the electric slide, of course, and then the wobble because I worked at Top Golf for a little bit, and the Michael Jackson Thriller dance part. For some odd reason, I can remember that thing, and that video scared me my entire life as a child. So
That's amazing if you can do that dance. I mean,
it's
I can do the chicken dance.
it's like I I love the chicken dance, but I get to certain parts and I'm really having a struggle like to remember. But then like do the Michael Jackson beat it. Like I can go through and do like the whole little, knife rope scene. It's like, how do you know this? I'm like, I don't know. I was a kid. We watched it like 1,000 times or something. We used to
That's
play it
awesome.
outside. So let's wrap it up for everybody. Tell everybody briefly, once again, what Carrie Cares Employer Brand Consulting does and what you like to do for them.
Absolutely. So I build strategies for companies to attract and retain the best talent, improve their candidate experience, and level up their recruiting operations excellence.
Awesome. Awesome. Carrie, thank you for being on my podcast. I've had a great time. It's been wonderful learning about employer branding and consulting. And now I'm going to hold my company that I work for or with, and every other company that I start to go out and look at a little bit higher for their standards, for their branding when they're trying to go out and retain the best talent. So,
I think
uh,
that's great.
any social media shout outs you want to give for people to check you out?
LinkedIn is the best platform to find me. Carrie Corcoran. That is the absolute. I'm always on LinkedIn daily, and I do respond to messages and connection requests. And I think what you're doing is great, OD, because you never know when your message is going to resonate with someone else and inspire someone else to take a leap to do something or spark something else. And so that's why we all do what we do.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna say goodbye before I get all teary up and try to keep my tough guy image that I have on the internet. So y'all have a good one. Thank you for joining us. Bye, everybody.